You've asked the question, a very common sense question. This is Anthony Dillon. Do Aboriginal people in your home state of Queensland, my home state, feel safe at the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee Hospital at Coopers Plains in Brisbane? I mean, you've said, do Aboriginal people in Queensland feel unsafe about the Prince Charles Hospital at Chermside? I mean, your father, I think, was at the Prince Charles Hospital, was he not?
Yeah, and he's very grateful. He said they gave him fantastic service.
And your father was a prominent Indigenous Australian. He was Queensland's Senior Australian of the Year. Did he have difficult issues with cultural safety when he was a patient?
No, he is the current senior.
Is the current? There you are. Sorry.
Yeah.
So who are these people?
He had nothing.
Who are these people who think they're the gatekeepers for Aboriginal people in Victoria? Who are they?
Yeah, exactly. That's the question we need to ask. You know, and they're planting poisonous seeds in the minds of many Indigenous people. And one of the concerns I have, Alan, is news comes and goes so fast. In a couple of months, we'll have forgotten the details about this, but some people will just remember, oh, that hospital, that's that racist one, isn't it? Isn't that culturally unsafe? You know, the details are fragmented and they just are left with that remnant of, oh, it's the unsafe one, the culturally unsafe one, which is just nonsense.
I mean, this business about a voice to the Parliament, should Indigenous Australia, well, firstly, I mean, you're an Indigenous Australian and an Australian. There is no one voice for all these Indigenous tribes, is there? There's no one voice. No,
you have voices for Indigenous and non-Indigenous, and males and females and elderly and young people.
Yep.
If I look at my family, are you saying that my father needs one representation and my mother needs another representation?
It's very divisive, isn't
Ridiculous.
it? Should Indigenous Australians be given an extra say over matters that affect Australians generally, like, for example, the name of a hospital?
Yeah. Look, they already have say, and I welcome that too. I have no problem whatever platform they want to use. But to fiddle with the Constitution and bring Parliament into it, you need to be very, very careful.
And bring race into the Constitution. And that was once upon a time called apartheid, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you make a brilliant point. You make a brilliant point. This is Anthony Dillon. Amongst many outstanding points, he said this: I cannot help but think that such a display of virtue signalling communicates to Aboriginal Australians that they're so fragile that a name such as Queen Elizabeth for a hospital is threatening. That's a very powerful point. I mean, you say, do these protesters hope that non-Aboriginal Australians will feel such a sense of guilt because they're not affected by the naming of the hospital?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think, the average Aussie wants to help, wants to see good things happen for Aboriginal people. But if they get misinformation, they could end up doing something that's not helpful.
Yeah, and as you make the point, you said, and I quote you, Aboriginal Australians before colonisation were able to live under harsh conditions that few of us could endure for more than 3 or 4 days. You said they were tough people. So what are we saying, Anthony? Is that today's Aboriginal people are so weak, their strength is so diluted, they're affected by 2 words, Queen Elizabeth?
Absolutely, as they were apparently affected by the word coon cheese, that we saw that taken off the shelves. It's just ridiculous to paint the picture of Indigenous people being that fragile.
Yeah,
thankfully,
coon cheese.
Most are not. Most are not.
No.
But it is that noisy minority being led by Lydia and others who are trying to present this picture of a weak, frail Aboriginal people.
Yes.